The stars shone brightly above the Kennedy Space Center on that warm June night in 2157. Admiral Jun Kim stood on the observation deck, his eyes fixed on the massive ship that would carry him beyond Earth's atmosphere. Tomorrow, he would lead humanity's first diplomatic mission to meet the aliens who called themselves the Galactic Council. "Nervous?" asked a soft voice behind him. June turned to see Dr. Hyun Park adjusting her glasses. As Earth's top expert in alien languages, she would be his right hand during the mission. "Not nervous," June said. "Just thinking about what this means for all of us." 3 months ago, the alien ships had appeared at the edge of the solar system. They came without warning. 17 massive vessels, each larger than Earth's biggest city. The world had panicked at first. Some people thought it was the end. But then the aliens sent a message in perfect English. "We come in peace. We are the Galactic Council. We wish to welcome humanity to the greater community of spacefaring species." Now June and Hyun would lead a team of 12 experts to meet these aliens face to face. "Do you trust them?" Hyun asked. June looked back at the stars. "Trust is earned. Let's see what they have to say first." The human ship docked with the council vessel the next day. June led his team through the airlock, where they were met by 2 tall, blue-skinned aliens with 4 arms each. "Welcome," said the taller one in a voice that sounded like singing. "I am Greeter Zal. We will take you to meet Ambassador Varrock." The hallways of the alien ship were huge and curved in strange ways. June noticed that different sections seemed designed for different kinds of aliens. Some corridors were filled with mist. Others were very hot or cold. A few sections were completely underwater. After 15 minutes of walking, they reached a large round room with a table in the center. Around the table sat 7 different aliens. Each one looked nothing like the others. One was small and green, with many eyes. Another looked like a giant insect. A third glowed with soft blue light. At the head of the table sat a tall figure with gray skin and deep-set eyes. This alien stood as the humans entered. "I am Ambassador Varrock of the Lentari. On behalf of the 17 species of the Galactic Council, I welcome humanity to the stars." June stepped forward. "Admiral Jun Kim of Earth's United Space Command. We are honored to meet you and look forward to learning about your council." Ambassador Varrock gestured to the empty seats. "Please sit. We have much to discuss." For the next 6 hours, June and his team learned about the Galactic Council. The council had existed for over 10,000 years. It maintained peace across 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy. Each member species had a voice in council decisions. They shared technology, trade routes, and protection. "We have been watching Earth for centuries," Varrock explained. "It is our policy to wait until a species achieves faster than light travel before making contact. Your successful Bennett drive test last year showed us you were ready." "You've been watching us?" June asked, trying to keep his voice neutral. "Only from a distance," Varrock assured him. "We do not interfere in developing worlds. We simply observe until the time is right." Hyun leaned forward. "And now you believe the time is right for Earth to join your council?" "Yes," said Varrock. "We offer membership with all its benefits. Advanced medical technology that can cure most human diseases. Clean energy solutions that will end your climate problems. Improvements to your faster-than-light drives. Protection from any threats in the galaxy." "That sounds very generous," June said carefully. "What would Earth need to give in return?" The room grew quiet. Varrock's deep-set eyes studied June before he answered. "All members must follow council laws. These include limits on expansion and military development. Each new species is allowed to colonize only certain approved planets. Military ships must stay within size and weapons limits, and artificial intelligence development must be closely monitored for safety." June noticed how the other aliens watched for his reaction. He kept his face calm, but inside he was troubled. The offer seemed good on the surface, but these restrictions would limit humanity's future. "I appreciate your offer, Ambassador Varrock, but I will need to bring these terms back to Earth's governments for consideration. A decision this important cannot be made by one person." "Of course," Varrock said. "We understand. Take the information we have provided and discuss it with your leaders. We will await your response. Later, in their private quarters on the council ship, June met with his team. What do you think? He asked Hyun. She tapped her tablet, reviewing her notes. Their technology is amazing. The medical advances alone would save millions of lives. But these restrictions, they want to control us, said Major Tae, the military expert on the team. They're offering a nice cage with comfortable furniture, but it's still a cage. Dr. Song, the political advisor, nodded. Still, refusing could be dangerous. They clearly have technology far beyond ours. If they decided Earth was a threat. June looked out the viewport at the stars. Earth looked so small from here. So vulnerable. There's something they're not telling us, he said finally. I felt it during the meeting. They want us in the council, but they're also afraid of us. But why? What could they possibly fear from humans when they have such advanced technology? What Admiral Kim couldn't know was that in another room far away on the same ship, the council's inner circle was having their own meeting. The humans show more caution than expected, said Varrock to the other senior members. Their representative, this Admiral Kim, senses our concern. Is it wise to offer them membership? Asked Counselor Traz, a small insect-like being. The predictive models are clear. Humans are a chaos species. Their development doesn't follow normal patterns. Their future actions cannot be reliably predicted. That is precisely why we must bring them into the council, said Elder Mox, the oldest member present. Better to have them bound by our rules than left to develop on their own. Remember the ancient warning, the unpredictable must be guided, or contained. And if they refuse our offer? Asked another member. Varrock looked at the hologram of Earth floating above the table. Then we must consider stronger measures. For the safety of the galaxy, we cannot allow a chaos species to expand unchecked. Elder Mox's voice was grave. Let us hope it doesn't come to that. The last time we faced a chaos species, an entire sector of the galaxy was lost. We cannot afford such a conflict again. The hologram of Earth continued to spin slowly, the blue planet oblivious to the weight of the decision being made about its future. 5 years had passed since humanity's first meeting with the Galactic Council. Earth had joined as a probationary member, and things had changed quickly for everyone on the planet. Jin Tae stood at the window of his office in the new Galactic Relations Department building in Seoul. From his view on the 70th floor, he could see the council embassy, a tall, shimmering structure that seemed to change colors depending on the time of day. Today it glowed a soft blue under the spring sun. As the head diplomat between Earth and the council, Jin had more responsibilities than he ever wanted. He sighed and turned back to his desk where reports waited for his review. His assistant knocked on the door. Sir, Delegate Morax has arrived for your meeting. Jin nodded. Send him in, please. Morax entered the room. He was from the Zentari species, tall with smooth gray skin and 4 eyes that blinked in pairs. Jin had worked with him for 3 years now. Counselor Jin, Morax said with a slight bow. I trust you are well today? I am, thank you, Jin replied, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. Please sit. I believe we have much to discuss. Morax sat down carefully. His species was known for their formal behavior. The Council is pleased with Earth's progress in many areas. The adoption of our medical technology has been very successful. Your planet's climate issues are now under control, and your 5 colony worlds are developing according to schedule. Jin nodded. These were indeed good things. Council medicine had wiped out cancer, heart disease, and most infections on Earth. Their clean energy systems had replaced fossil fuels within 2 years, and the improved space drives let ships reach nearby star systems in days instead of months. But Jin had concerns. While we appreciate these benefits, there are issues I must raise. Morax's lower eyes blinked. Of course. That is your role. Jin picked up his tablet and opened a file. The Council has denied our request to expand to the Tau Ceti system. This would be only our 6th colony, well within the 5-century plan the Council approved. The Council feels that human expansion is proceeding too quickly, Morax said. Your first 5 colonies have grown at 3 times the expected rate. Most species take decades to fully settle a new world. Humans have done it in less than 5 years each time. We are efficient, Jin said. Is that a problem? Not a problem, Morax said carefully. Simply unexpected. Jin moved to his next point. The restrictions on our military vessels continue to be a concern. The Vrexian trading ships near our Sion colony have scanned our outposts multiple times. When we asked for permission to increase our defensive capabilities there, we were denied. The Vrexians are a founding council species, Morax explained. They have interests in that sector that predate human arrival. Their scans are routine and not a threat. Jin disagreed but decided to save that battle for another day. He moved to his biggest concern. Most troubling is the Council's increased oversight of our AI development. Last month, a Council team removed research data from the Seoul Advanced Computing Lab without proper permission. When I asked about this, I received no clear answer. Morax's 4 eyes all blinked at once, a sign of discomfort in his species. That was a safety review. Your lab was pursuing algorithms that showed concerning patterns. What patterns? Jin pressed. Patterns that suggest unpredictable outcomes, Morax said. The Council has experience with AI development across many species. Certain approaches have proven dangerous. Jin leaned forward. That explanation is too vague, Delegate. Earth signed the membership agreement with the understanding that we would retain control of our core research. If the Council has specific concerns, they should be shared openly. Morax stood up. I will bring your concerns to the Council. But you must understand, Councillor Jin, that the restrictions placed on humanity are for the good of all species, including yours. After Morax left, Jin sat quietly for a long time. In 5 years as Earth's top diplomat, he had noticed a pattern. The Council always spoke of safety and protection, but their actions suggested something else. Fear. Later that evening, Jin met with Admiral Kim at a small restaurant in the old part of Seoul. They had worked together since first contact, and Jin trusted the older man's judgment. They're hiding something, Jin said after explaining his meeting with Morax. Every time I press for more freedom for our colonies or research, they deflect. Admiral Kim nodded. It's been the same with the military restrictions. They claim it's standard procedure for new members. But I've reviewed the histories of the last 3 species that joined before us. None faced such tight controls. Have you seen the latest reports from the Sion colony? Jin asked. Yes. Director, Yunji sent them directly to me. The Vrexians aren't just scanning our outposts, they're mapping the entire system. They focused on the 3rd moon where our miners found that rare mineral deposit. Jin frowned. Morax dismissed my concerns about the Vrexians. He called their activities routine. Nothing routine about it, Kim said. Colonel Suho Lee has reported 12 Vrexian ships in the system last week. That's more than they've ever had there before. Jin looked around to make sure no one was listening and lowered his voice. I've been doing some research into Council history. Did you know that 3 species have been removed from the Council in the past 1,000 years? Kim raised his eyebrows. Removed? On what grounds? The records are vague. They cite irreconcilable differences in development philosophy. But reading between the lines, I think these species refuse to follow Council restrictions on their growth. What happened to them? Kim asked. Jin's face was grim. They're not mentioned again in any Council records I can access. It's as if they disappeared from galactic history. Kim was quiet for a moment. We need to be careful, Jin. Very careful. But we also need to prepare. Prepare for what? For the possibility that the Council isn't the benevolent organization they claim to be. Unknown to Jin and Admiral Kim, their conversation was being monitored. In a secure room beneath the Council embassy, Supervisor Krell of Council Intelligence listened to the translation with growing concern. The humans are becoming suspicious faster than predicted, Krell said to the hologram of Ambassador Varrock. Their pattern recognition abilities exceed our models. Varrock's hologram flickered. Has the research team made progress on understanding their adaptation capabilities? Yes and no, Krell replied. The humans are modifying our technology in ways we never anticipated. They've created hybrid systems that our engineers say shouldn't work, but somehow do. And their colony development is proceeding at triple our projected rate. They're thriving in environments we rated as marginally habitable at best. This confirms our initial assessment, Varrock said. Humanity is indeed a chaos species, perhaps the most adaptable one the Council has ever encountered. The probability models are clear. If left unchecked, they will reach Council-level technology within a century, not the 1,000 years we first estimated. Should we recommend stronger containment measures? Krell asked. Varrock was silent for a moment. Not yet. Overt action might trigger exactly the response we fear. Continue close observation. Increase restrictions gradually, and prepare Containment Fleet Delta for deployment near the Sol system, just in case. And the situation at Sion? Krell asked. Tell the Vrexians to proceed with their claim on the mineral-rich moon. If the humans resist, it will give us cause to implement stricter controls. After the transmission ended, Krell looked at the data, displays showing human activity across their colonies. The growth curves all pointed sharply upward, exceeding every prediction. For the first time in his long career monitoring developing species, Krell felt something he rarely experienced: fear. Colonel Suho Lee stood at the main viewport of Sion Defense Station, watching as the 7th Vrexian ship moved into orbit around the small human colony. The ships were large and angular, with designs that reminded Suho of ancient earth wasps. Their presence had doubled in the past week alone. "Sir," called Lieutenant Han from the sensor station. "Another Vrexian vessel just entered the system. This one's bigger than the others." Suho frowned. "That makes 8. Send an update to Earth immediately." Something was wrong. The Vrexians had never shown much interest in Sion before. The human colony was only 20 years old, with just under 50,000 people spread across the main settlement and 3 mining outposts. It was Earth's 4th sanctioned colony world, located on the distant edge of what the Council considered human territory. "Colonel," Han said, looking up from her console with worry in her eyes. "The new Vrexian ship is hailing us. They're demanding to speak with the colony leader." Suho straightened his uniform. "Put them through." The large screen at the front of the command center flickered to life. A Vrexian appeared, its insect-like face filling the screen. Like all Vrexians, it had a hard, shiny exoskeleton. This one was deep red, and compound eyes that reflected the light in rainbow patterns. "I am Enforcement Commander Vrak of the Galactic Council," the alien said, its words translated by the computer. "Who speaks for this illegal human settlement?" Suho stepped forward. "I am Colonel Suho Lee, military commander of the Sion colony. There is nothing illegal about our presence here. Sion is a council-approved human colony." The Vrexian made a clicking sound that the translator didn't convert. "Your approval was for the main planet only. You have established mining operations on the 3rd moon without permission. That moon falls under Vrexian claim according to Council border regulations." Suho kept his face neutral, but inside he was confused. The entire Sion system was included. "In our colonial grant, we have the documentation." "Your documentation is outdated," Vrak replied. "The Council has recognized Vrexian claim to the outer bodies of this system due to their proximity to our territory. You have 48 hours to remove all human personnel and equipment from the 3rd moon." The screen went dark before Suho could respond. "Sir?" Lieutenant Han asked. "What do we do?" Suho turned to his communications officer. "Contact Earth immediately. I need to speak with Director Yun-ji as soon as possible." On Earth, Director of Colonial Affairs Yun-ji sat in her office, reading Colonel Lee's report with growing anger. This was not the first time the Council had changed rules without proper notification, but it was the first time they had directly threatened a human settlement. She opened a secure communication line to Counselor Jin Tae. "Jin, have you seen the report from Sion?" she asked when his face appeared on her screen. "I just received it," Jin replied, looking tired. "The Vrexians are claiming the 3rd moon. The same moon where our miners discovered that new mineral deposit last month. This can't be a coincidence, Unji said. Our analysis shows that mineral could revolutionize our drive systems. It's more efficient than anything the Council has shared with us. Jin rubbed his temples. I've already requested an emergency meeting with the Council representatives, but they're unavailable until next week. That's after the Vrexians' deadline. We can't wait that long, Unji said firmly. There are 37 miners on that moon, and the Vrexians are known for their strict enforcement. What are you suggesting? Jin asked, looking concerned. We can't send military ships. That would violate our membership agreement. Unji's face was determined. I'm not suggesting we send military ships, Jin, but we do have other options. 2 days later, Colonel Suho Lee was back at the viewport, watching as the Vrexian fleet surrounded the third moon of Sion. The miners had refused to leave, claiming they had every right to be there. Suho had sent his small security team to protect them, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Sir, called Lieutenant Han, the Vrexians are launching landing craft. They'll reach the mining facility in 20 minutes. Suho clenched his fists. Earth had told him to maintain his position but avoid direct conflict. It seemed impossible now. Sir, Han suddenly shouted. New contacts entering the system. 5 ships, but they're not in our database. Suho rushed to the sensor station. The screen showed 5 small vessels moving at incredible speed. Their design was unlike anything he had seen before, sleeker than standard human ships but with familiar elements. They're hailing us, Han said, sounding confused. They're humans, sir, but they're not using standard communications protocols. Put them through, Suho ordered. A woman's face appeared on the screen. She wore no uniform, just simple dark clothing. Colonel Lee, she said with a nod. I'm Captain Mina Park. Earth sent us to help with your Vrexian problem. Captain, I wasn't informed of any reinforcements, Suho said carefully. Mina smiled slightly. We're not exactly official. Director Unji thought you could use some assistance that wouldn't violate any council restrictions. Before Suho could ask what she meant, the sensor officer called out again. Sir, the new ships are performing some kind of maneuver. They're using the gas giant's gravity to accelerate. Their speed is off the charts. On the screen, Suho could see the 5 small ships swinging around the massive gas giant that dominated the outer Sion system. They emerged from the maneuver at speeds that should have been impossible, curving toward the third moon in perfect formation. The Vrexian fleet immediately changed course to intercept them. What are they doing? Suho asked, watching in amazement. Captain, Mina's smile widened. Something the council says can't be done. Watch. The 5 human ships split up, each one diving toward the gas giant again. The Vrexian ships followed, their weapons powering up. But just as they came into firing range, the human ships did something extraordinary. They seemed to suddenly slip sideways in space, using the gravity well to perform what looked like an instant change in direction. The Vrexian ships tried to adjust but couldn't match the maneuver. Their rigid formation broke apart as they struggled to track the human vessels. How are they doing that? Lieutenant Han asked, eyes wide. The drive signatures are like nothing I've ever seen. Hybrid technology, Mina explained over the still open channel. We combined council tech with some old Earth theories they dismissed. The council says slingshot jumps are impossible. Their physics doesn't allow for it. Turns out their physics is incomplete. For the next hour, Suho and his crew watched in awe as the 5 small ships danced around the Vrexian fleet. They never fired a single weapon. They didn't need to. The Vrexians couldn't catch them, and when they tried to proceed to the moon, the human ships would appear in their path, forcing them to change course or risk collision. Finally, the largest Vrexian ship pulled back, and a communication came through. Colonel Lee, Commander Vrak said, his voice tight with barely controlled rage. Your new ships are violating council safety protocols. Their maneuvers should not be possible. I don't know what you mean, Commander, Suho replied calmly. Those ships are simply protecting council-approved human territory using standard defensive tactics. This is not over, Vrak hissed. The Council will hear of this. The Vrexian fleet pulled back to a higher orbit, clearly waiting for instructions from their superiors. 3 days later, a Council peacekeeping force arrived at Sion. By then, news of the standoff had spread throughout human space. The 5 mysterious ships had vanished as quickly as they had appeared, but not before transferring their navigation data to the colony's computers. As Suho prepared to meet with the Council representatives, Lieutenant Han approached him. "Sir," she said quietly, "the data those ships left behind, our engineers have been studying it. They say it changes everything we thought we knew about faster-than-light travel." Suho nodded. "Make copies, secure copies. The Council will try to confiscate everything." Han smiled. "Already done, sir, and I sent a personal message to my sister on Alpha Centauri. She works in their science division." "Good," Suho said, "because I think things are about to get much more complicated with our Council friends." What neither of them knew was that in a secure meeting room on the Council's central world, the emergency session about the Sion incident was already reaching a grim conclusion. "The humans have done the impossible," one Council member was saying. "Their ships performed maneuvers our science says cannot be done. The chaos factor in their development has reached critical levels." Ambassador Varrock, now showing signs of age, looked around the table. "Then we must act. The containment protocols must be implemented for the safety of the galaxy." 10 years had passed since the Sion incident. On the surface, relations between Earth and the Galactic Council had returned to normal. Humans followed Council rules, stayed within their approved territories, and reported all technological developments, as required. Director Min-Ho Kang of Earth's Compliance Office walked through the grand entrance of the Council Embassy in Seoul for his monthly meeting. He was known throughout Council space as the model of human cooperation. Council representatives often praised his detailed reports and friendly manner. "Director Kang," greeted the Zentari receptionist, "Ambassador Trell is waiting for you in meeting room 3. Min-Ho nodded politely and headed down the familiar hallway. His neat appearance and calm smile gave no hint of his true work, as the mastermind of humanity's secret preparation for independence from the Council. Ambassador Trell, a tall, blue-skinned alien, stood as Min-Ho entered the room. "Director Kang, always punctual," Trell said. "I appreciate your latest compliance report. The Council is pleased with humanity's continued adherence to regulations. We value our place in the galactic community," Min-Ho replied with a practiced smile. "Earth understands the importance of following established protocols." For the next hour, Min-Ho presented data showing how human colonies were developing within Council guidelines. He explained minor violations and how they had been corrected. He assured Trell that Earth's military remained within size limits. "Excellent," Trell said when the presentation ended. There was some concern after the Sion incident that humans might pursue alternative development paths. "I am glad to see those concerns were unfounded." Min-Ho's smile never wavered. "The Sion situation was unfortunate, a misunderstanding that has been resolved. Earth has no desire to challenge Council wisdom." After the meeting, Min-Ho walked out of the embassy and took a small personal transport to a quiet restaurant in the old district of Seoul. He entered, through the kitchen, and went up a back staircase to a private room. 3 people were waiting for him there. Admiral Kim, now retired but still influential in military circles. Jin Tae, no longer Earth's chief diplomat but working as a consultant on interspecies relations. And Yoon Ji, who had left her position as colonial director to lead a trading company. "How was the meeting?" Jin asked as Min-Ho sat down. "The same as always," Min-Ho replied, his polite smile replaced by a serious expression. "They suspect nothing. The Council believes we have accepted our place in their hierarchy." Yoon-ji nodded. "Good. The longer they believe that, the more time we have." Min-Ho opened a secure tablet. "Phase 3 is proceeding ahead of schedule. Our commercial network now extends to 15 systems beyond Council monitoring. The research stations are fully operational." "What about the contact program?" Admiral Kim asked. "Making good progress," Min-Ho said. We've established communication with representatives from 7 species who share our concerns about council control. Most are younger members like us, but 2 are older species who have been quietly questioning council policies for centuries. Jin looked troubled. The council has existed for 10,000 years. Are we sure this is wise? Challenging such an established power? Minho was about to respond when his secure communicator buzzed. The message was simple. Trader Jun has returned. Important discovery. Come immediately. The 4 leaders met Jun at a secure facility beneath Seoul's largest shipping center. Jun was a simple trader on paper, running a small fleet of cargo ships between human colonies. In reality, he led one of Minho's most important intelligence networks. Jun looked tired, but excited as they entered the room. Thank you for coming. Quickly. What I found couldn't wait. He placed a data crystal on the table. 3 months ago, we detected unusual communications from an abandoned mining facility in the Altair system. The council records showed the system was empty, but our scans found energy signatures. You investigated without approval? Admiral Kim asked, raising an eyebrow. Jun nodded. It was too strange to ignore. The facility belonged to the Zori. The room went silent. The Zori were one of the species that had disappeared from council, records centuries ago. They're still alive? Jin asked in shock. A small group, Jun confirmed. In hiding for over 300 years, when they realized we weren't council enforcers, they shared their story. Jun activated the data crystal, and a hologram appeared, complex diagrams and ancient council documents. The Zori developed faster-than-light communication that didn't rely on council technology. The council demanded they turn over their research. When they refused, the council declared them a developmental risk and moved to place their worlds under direct control. Jun pointed to one document. This is the key. The council's founding species have been deliberately suppressing technological development across the galaxy for thousands of years. Any advancement that might challenge their control is restricted or confiscated. We suspected something like this, Minho said quietly, but never had proof. There's more, Jun continued. The Zori showed me evidence of at least 5 other species who faced similar treatment. Some capitulated and accepted permanent restrictions. Others, like the Zori, were nearly wiped out for refusing. Yunji studied the data. This changes everything. The council isn't just restricting us, they're doing this to everyone. Minho stood up and walked around the table slowly. Our timeline needs to accelerate. If the council discovers our hidden operations, they'll move against us just like they did with the Zori. What do you suggest? Admiral Kim asked. We need to connect with all potential allies immediately, Minho said. Share this evidence, prepare our emergency protocols, and move Phase 4 development forward. Jin looked concerned. Phase 4 involves direct technological violation of council directives. If they detect it, they already suspect us, Minho said firmly. The Sion incident proved that humans can do things they thought impossible. They're watching for signs of rebellion. Then we need to be even more careful, Jun said. My sources in the council embassy indicate they've increased surveillance of key Earth facilities. Minho nodded. We maintain our compliance facade. I'll continue to be their model human. Meanwhile, we prepare for the day when we'll need to stand against them. What Minho and his allies didn't know was that their borrowed time was running out faster than they expected. In a secure communication node orbiting Jupiter, Council Supervisor Krell received an encrypted message from Central Command. After reading it, he contacted Ambassador Trell immediately. The surveillance program has detected unusual communication patterns, Krell reported. Human commercial vessels are deviating from registered routes before returning to normal paths. These deviations correlate with locations of interest. What locations? Trell asked. Systems near the borders of former Zori territory, Krell replied. And there have been power fluctuations in several Earth facilities that suggest they're testing technology beyond their approved level. Trell's expression darkened. The containment assessment was correct. Despite their outward compliance, they're exploring forbidden paths. Shall I activate the monitoring implants in their leadership? Krell asked. Yes, and prepare the enforcement fleet. If we detect clear evidence of violation, we'll need to move quickly before they can disperse whatever they're developing. Krell hesitated. Ambassador, if we act against Earth directly, other species might question the Council's methods. Humans have established trade relationships with many worlds. That is precisely why they must be contained now, Trell said firmly. The chaos factor in their development threatens the entire order the Council has maintained for millennia. Prepare the fleet. As the communication ended, neither Council official noticed the small anomaly in their transmission pattern, a subtle sign that their secure channel had been compromised by human technology they believed couldn't exist. Admiral Daun Yun stood on the bridge of the Earth defense vessel Horizon, watching as the Council Armada entered the Sol system. 10 massive warships, each one larger than anything in the human fleet. They moved in perfect formation toward Earth. All ships report ready, Admiral, said her second-in-command, Captain Lee. Daun nodded. Her fleet consisted of just 20 ships, small, fast vessels that the Council had approved for Earth's defense. On paper, they stood no chance against the Council Armada. Open a channel to all ships, she ordered. When the communication line was active, Daun spoke clearly. This is Admiral Yun. The Council fleet has arrived without warning or invitation. They have not responded to our hails. We all know what this means. She paused, looking at the tactical display. We have prepared for this day for years. Each of you knows your role in Defense Plan Sigma. Trust your training, trust each other, and remember, they expect us to follow their rules of engagement. We will not. Daun closed the channel and turned to her tactical officer. Begin the deployment. To anyone watching, especially the Council observers, the human defense fleet appeared to be making a serious error. Instead of forming a protective screen around Earth, the ships split into small groups. Some moved toward seemingly unimportant areas of space. Others appeared to retreat, leaving critical orbital infrastructure exposed. On the lead Council ship, Commander Draz watched with satisfaction. The humans are panicking, he told his officers. Their defense pattern is irrational. They're leaving their orbital stations unprotected. His tactical advisor was less certain. Sir, this doesn't match human military doctrine. Admiral Yun has a reputation for strategic brilliance. Even brilliance cannot overcome such inferior numbers and technology, Draz replied confidently. Proceed with the operation. Send the demand for Earth's surrender. As the Council fleet moved forward, following optimal engagement patterns they had used successfully for thousands of years, the human ships continued their seemingly random movements. Captain Lee looked at Daun with concern. The Council ships are approaching the trigger points, Admiral, but they haven't launched fighters yet. Daun smiled slightly. They will. Their tactical manuals are 10,000 years old. They always follow the same patterns. Sure enough, the Council fleet launched hundreds of small fighter craft, spreading them in a wide formation to secure their advance. Now, Daun said quietly. Across the solar system, hidden platforms suddenly activated. They had been disguised as maintenance depots, research stations, and even space debris. Each one generated a powerful gravity distortion, technology that humans had reverse-engineered from studying the data from the Sion incident years earlier. The Council fighters, caught in these unexpected gravity fields, were pulled off course. Some collided with each other. Others spun helplessly, their pilots unable to compensate for forces their training had never prepared them for. The human ships, waiting at precise coordinates, now moved with purpose. They used the artificial gravity wells to accelerate to speeds the Council believed impossible, appearing seemingly out of nowhere to disable key systems on the larger Council vessels. What is happening? Commander Draz demanded as his ship shuddered from a precision strike. How are they moving so fast? Unknown, sir, his tactical officer replied in confusion. They're using the gravity distortions to perform slingshot maneuvers. Our targeting systems can't track them. While the space battle unfolded, An emergency session of the Galactic Council was taking place billions of miles away. Ambassador Jin Tae, Earth's senior representative, had requested the right to address the full council. It was a right they could not deny, even as their fleet moved to subjugate his homeworld. Jin stood in the center of the Grand Council chamber, surrounded by representatives of the 17-member species. The tension was palpable. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Jin began, "for 10,000 years you have claimed to promote peace and cooperation among spacefaring civilizations. Today I present evidence that this claim is a lie." Shouts of protest erupted from several council members, but Jin continued, his voice firm. "A council fleet is currently attacking Earth without provocation. This is not peacekeeping. It is an act of war, but it is merely the latest in a long history of suppression and control." Jin activated a holographic display that appeared above the chamber. It showed ancient council documents, the same ones that Junyun had discovered. "These are your own records, recovered from your abandoned facilities. They prove that the founding species of this council have systematically restricted technological development across the galaxy for millennia. Any species that developed technology that might challenge your control was either forced into submission or eliminated." The chamber erupted in chaos as younger council members demanded explanations from the elder species. "The humans are lying," shouted the Vrexian representative. "These documents are forgeries," added the Lentari delegate. But Jin was prepared. He had secretly coordinated with resistance members from other species. At his signal, representatives from 5 different worlds stood and activated their own displays, showing more evidence. "We have all suffered under your control," Jin said. "The Zori, who you claimed died out centuries ago, are alive, hiding from your peacekeepers. The Brillari, whose world you claim is uninhabitable, are thriving in secret colonies. For too long you have decided which species may advance and which must remain subordinate." The senior council members were now in frantic communication with their homeworlds. 3 of them attempted to activate emergency protocols that would give them direct control of the council fleet, but they found their commands blocked. Back in the Sol system, Admiral Dayun's carefully planned defense was working. The council fleet, unable to counter the human tactics, found itself divided and vulnerable. "The quantum network is active, Admiral," reported Captain Lee. "All resistance groups across council space report successful deployment." Dayun nodded. This was the final piece of their plan, a hidden quantum communication system that operated outside council monitoring. For years, Min-Ho Kang and his team had been establishing connections with other species who chafed under council rule. Now, with the council distracted by their attack on Earth, resistance groups on dozens of worlds were making their moves. "Send the signal," Daon ordered. Throughout council space, the supposedly secure systems that controlled everything from defense networks to transportation suddenly displayed a simple message in all known languages. "The time of control is over. The time of cooperation begins." 7 days after what became known as the Unification Crisis began, representatives from 32 species, including the founding members of the old council, gathered on neutral ground to discuss a new galactic charter. Jin Tae, now serving as Earth's chief negotiator, proposed a structure that maintained the ideals of peaceful cooperation, but removed the hierarchical control that had defined the old council. For 10,000 years, the galaxy was united through fear and limitation, Jin told the assembly. "We propose a different vision of unity, one built on mutual respect and shared potential." The most significant change in the new charter was the elimination of the technology suppression protocols. No longer would any species be prevented from developing to their full potential. When the final vote was taken, even the former ruling species of the old council supported the new agreement. They had seen the alternative, a galaxy-wide rebellion that they could not hope to control. 5 years later, Min-Ho Kang stood on the observation deck of the new Galactic Alliance headquarters, built in neutral space rather than on any member world. Beside him stood Junyun, whose discovery had changed the course of galactic history. "Did you ever imagine it would end this way?" Jun asked, watching ships from dozens of species dock at the massive station. Minho smiled. Not like this, no. I thought we were preparing for a war. Instead, we created something better than any of us imagined. The council analysts never understood their fundamental error, June said thoughtfully. They identified humans as dangerous because we were unpredictable. They never realized that unpredictability is the source of innovation. Below them, the main chamber was filling with delegates for the annual Alliance Conference. Species that had once been restricted to their home systems now shared technologies and ideas freely. Worlds that had been declared off-limits were open for cooperative research. They wanted to unite the galaxy against us, Minho said. Instead, we united the galaxy against the very idea of control. June nodded, and created something stronger than the council ever was. As they turned to join the conference, a group of young delegates from various species stopped to greet them. One of them, a junior diplomat from a world that had just achieved spaceflight, asked Minho for advice. Minho smiled and repeated the phrase that had become something of a motto throughout the new alliance. May your species be just unpredictable, enough to be interesting, but predictable enough to be trusted. The galaxy had entered a new age, one where chaos and order were no longer seen as opposites, but as complementary forces driving progress and cooperation. And it had all begun because one species refused to be controlled.